This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Welcome to the Stone Cold Truth here on the Genesis Communications Network. Do we have an incredible show for you today? I have, unfortunately, the responsibility of having to rebut the Washington Post, the New York Times, even the White House on their completely false and transparent narrative regarding Russian hacking of the 2016 election. You see, not the Washington Post, not the New York Times, not the White House, none of them have produced an iota of proof that the Russians were hacking and giving materials to WikiLeaks, that the Russians were hacking the Democratic National Committee. Folks, this is a fraud, a MacGuffin, a naked attempt to delegitimize the presidency of Donald J. Trump. This was really an extraordinary week. First, Josh Earnest, the press secretary for the President of the United States, said flatly that Roger Stone had informed Donald Trump that the Russians were going to hack the DNC and John Podesta. That is a lie. There is no proof whatsoever that is the case. Now, the other thing I always found tickling is the headlines that say, Stone admits dialogue with Assange. I didn't admit anything. Admit implies that you're doing so under duress. I announced it. Yes, I had an arm's length communication with Assange, and I knew that he had unspecified political dynamite, which he did. I never was told in advance that he was hacking anybody, who he hacked, or who he got information from through leaks. That would be known only to him. The other claim was that because I predicted that Mr. Podesta and his political and business dealings would become public, specifically I said on Twitter, it will soon be John Podesta's time in the barrel. That is based on my own research and an extensive article I published at Stone Cold Truth regarding Podesta's corruption and money laundering, none of which is reflected in or came from WikiLeaks. Do they think we do not know what's going on in that region of the country? So you had not only the false attack of the White House on me, an incredible op-ed piece in the Washington Post by John Podesta reiterating yet again the same lie he was spinning before the election, that Roger Stone knew in advance that he was hacked. It's just a bald-faced lie for a guy with many things to cover up. Yet, I guess they believe if you repeat a lie enough times, over and over and over again, that you can get people to believe it. Then you have this multi-part series by Scott Shane in the Washington Post, in the New York Times, in which he says flatly, Crucifer 2 was just a code name for a Russian hacker. Not true. False. Show us the proof. Mr. Shane, show us the proof, because you have none. None whatsoever. Conjecture. You just state it as a fact, like the people are stupid. What you're seeing here is a mainstream media attempt to affect the Electoral College. This is a orchestrated campaign of lies. First, they harp on the outcome of the popular vote. Well, if the popular vote mattered, Al Gore would have been president. We do not elect our president by the popular vote in this country. Both the Trump and Clinton campaigns were geared up for an electoral vote outcome. And then there's the phony recount. We're going to have John Haggerty, one of the Republican Party's leading experts on recounts and election law, joining us later in the program to tell you exactly how that worked out. Jill Stein, showing that she's a corporate whore who believes in nothing, basically negating her Green Party credentials and now bringing disgrace on herself, fronting for Hillary Clinton, paid by George Soros, lining her pockets. Jill, go away. You burned out your cred. No one views you as an independent anymore. Conducting expensive and fruitless recounts in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania. And then you have this last desperate gasp. The Russians did it. Sorry, President Obama, you have no proof. Sorry, intelligence agencies, you guys can't even agree among yourselves. Interesting that the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, James Clapper, comes forward and says he doesn't share the CIA's assessment that the Russians were hacking this election. There's just nothing to this. It's one of the great MacGuffins in American political history. On top of it all, you have the repeated efforts to intimidate electors. Republican electors are reporting receiving death threats, threats of violence, vile attacks on them individually. This is the political establishment, folks. This is the left. Hillary Clinton knows she's staring at prison. She knows that a legitimate, unbiased, non-politicized Justice Department can quickly get to the bottom of her various crimes and get an indictment. You see, no person is above the law. Isn't that what they told us at the height of Watergate? So, buckle your seatbelt. We've got a terrific show today. Travis Irvine joins us, my libertarian fellow traveler calling from the hinterlands. We also have, as I said, John Haggerty, one of the country's leading experts on recounts and election law, will report to us on Wisconsin and Michigan and the Pennsylvania recount, all of which yielded nothing other than a slight gain in the number of votes for Donald Trump. Then longtime rock guitarist and libertarian activist Greg Lewis is going to join us to talk about music. And, of course, we have Rick Derringer, the Rick Derringer, whose song Hold On Sloopy is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. A hardcore rocker who's played with Johnny and Edgar Winter, who's opened for the Rolling Stones, opened for Ringo Starr. Going to talk to us about why he supports Donald Trump and why he has rewritten his most famous song for the Trump inauguration. Scott Caruso joins us. Now, Scott Caruso is a man about town, but more importantly, he is one of the most renowned wine sommeliers in the country, but he also has an intimate knowledge of Italian cuisine with a specialty in pizza. So, yes, we're going to talk about my favorite subject, particularly when I'm hungry, pizza, for a segment later in the show. So, you have come to the right place if you're looking for the cross-section of politics and culture and food and what's really happening in America. Yes, it's the stone cold truth here on the Genesis Communications Network. We are growing, folks, by leaps and bounds as more people learn that we dish out the truth here every Saturday from 1 to 3 Eastern on the Genesis Communications Network. So welcome and get ready for the stone cold truth.
There is an affordable alternative to the high cost of healthcare that offers freedom from insurance while providing compliance with the Obamacare individual mandate. Imagine having access to quality, affordable healthcare that allows you the freedom to choose your doctor and hospital. Members can share up to 100% of necessary medical expenses, including some alternative treatments. Find out how you and your family can contain healthcare costs without giving up your freedom. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Roger Stone, New York Times best-selling author, brings you Nixon's Secrets. Nixon's Secrets shows how Hillary Clinton was fired from the 1974 Nixon Impeachment Committee staff for lying and violating Nixon's rights, and how Hillary tried unsuccessfully to block Nixon from the Clinton White House. No wonder Nixon, upon meeting Hillary for the first time, said, "She's cold. Cold as ice." Find out more at stonecoldtruth.com. In the New York Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, Roger Stone has gathered documents and uses his first-hand knowledge to construct the ultimate book to prove that LBJ was not only involved in JFK's assassination, but he was in fact the mastermind. Find out how and much more in The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Get yours today at lbjkilledjfk.com.
Lifetime Gray's 100% grass-fed beef has the health benefits you seek. When compared to conventional beef, it offers good fats while virtually eliminating the bad. That's the result of cattle who never eat grain, ever. Rich in antioxidants, including vitamin E, C, beta-carotene, and CLA. No artificial hormones, antibiotics, or other drugs. For all our fresh, non-cooked products with only 100% grass-fed beef, go to MidasResources.com. Use voucher code GCN to get 30% off your order. MidasResources.com, or find us on Facebook.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-615-7709. That's 800-615-7709. 800-615-7709.
Don't know what contaminants are lurking in your water? Time to get a ProPure. Take advantage of ProPure's holiday sale. Save 25% on all ProPure water filter products. Sales good through December 31st. There's a ProPure water filter for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Welcome back to the Stone Cold Truth. Ushered in there by the wicked Wilson Pickett. And now I'm particularly proud to introduce a true rock legend, a guy that I absolutely worship in terms of his musicianship and his pedigree. Rick Derringer is a hardcore rocker. He first came to prominence in the 1960s, you may remember, with as a member of the McCoys for their number one hit single, Hang On Sloopy, which hung on the charts for a long time until it was finally knocked down by the Beatles. Only the Beatles could take it out. Most importantly, I'm sure many remember Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, a classic, a standard. Rick Derringer has worked with some of the greats, Edgar and Johnny Winters, opening for the Rolling Stones, opening for Zeppelin, opening for Kiss. I mean, this guy's track record just blows me away. And he's also an outspoken advocate for freedom and a supporter of Donald Trump. So welcome to the Stone Cold Truth, Rick Derringer.
Wow, it's good to be talking to you today. I haven't done this particular show yet with you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I had you on InfoWars last week. We had some technical problems we worked around, but we were able to show your stunning wife to the American people. I understand as soon as she came on, our ratings jumped up by almost 16 million people.
Oh, you've got a lot of smart people there.
No question about it. So, look, I'm delighted that you were able to join us today. As you look back at your career in rock, just before we talk politics, and you've played with so many of the greats, and I know how much respect there is for you within the rock community, because when I drop your name, people say, wow, you had him on the show? He's unbelievable. What would you say was your greatest single moment in your long and storied career?
Wow, it would be hard to narrow it down to one. I can tell you one that remains in my memory very clearly. On Ringo Starr's birthday a few years ago, it happened to be that we were celebrating the birthday the same night I was playing in Ringo's All-Star Band in Radio City Music Hall in New York City. And that night, Paul McCartney decided to show up and honor Ringo with his presence. So I got to play They Say It's Your Birthday with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr both. So
wow, so you got to play with half the Beatles. That's pretty good.
That's right, and that certainly was a high point.
Well, you outlined for me the incredible political history of your song, Real American. I know that Hulk Hogan has used it, but it had political usages long before that, and I know you have a new use for it coming up at the inauguration. So walk us through that, because it's really quite incredible.
The story is pretty cool. You're right. I wrote the song and just really intended to write a patriotic song, just a real statement of how I felt about it. It was to be an American, to be a real American. And in some ways, I was a little let down when Hulk Hogan decided to use it as his theme song, because I had such high hopes for the song patriotically. And I thought in some ways maybe Hulk Hogan was cheapening that perspective. So I just let it go on. I mean, he's used it for over 30 years. But when Hillary Clinton ran against Barack Obama in a primary election, she decided to use that song for her campaign song. And in some ways, I went, wow. I wasn't really a great Hillary fan, but certainly I felt like it had achieved what I intended, was that is on a higher plane, let's say. And then when Hulk Hogan decided, Hulk Hogan, that's good, when they were having such big issues about Barack Obama's birth certificate, which I understand is all of a sudden front and center again, but they decided to give him a birth certificate, and they unveiled it at the press correspondence dinner. And they made a specific video with that birth certificate bouncing in and out of the screen to my song, Real American, again. So we looked online at one point and said, man, this thing's gotten 11 million hits. And I think the DNC was a little nervous about us maybe coming after some money, which they definitely owe us still. So they took it down and put it back up. And now it started from zero, and it's way over 11 million hits again. So from that one usage alone, it's gotten over 20 million hits. Then Newt Gingrich used it when he won his primary. but I became really excited when I heard that Donald Trump was walking on to some of his events to my song Real American. And now since then, I've found 4 separate videos at least that have been made honoring Donald Trump using the song Real American, and 2 of them from within the Trump campaign. So this is really, and I don't know if there's any statistics where you brag about this, but this is really the most successful unreleased song that's never had a single put out in the history of the world. This thing is huge. Everybody's heard it in the course of their lifetime, and it's still never been released as a single. So I decided that since it sounded kind of 80s version, the one that we had that everybody loves, my wife suggested that we do a brand new version where the arrangement can really not only focus on the fact that it's a great song and it sounds modern and new today, but that we encourage some parts of the arrangement to actually elevate the song to the level where we still see it. In fact, Jenda's right here, and I know she wants to say something.
Great.
Hi, Roger. How are you?
Welcome back.
Thank you. It became very relevant song, too, after 9/11 immediately. You know, the lines that say that when it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, and it did hurt the world to see what happened in New York City. And the song became our largest downloaded at that point, but we really feel like it was very 80s at this time in sounding. And as musicians, we knew it needed a new redo. So we're excited about it, and it's going to be epic, totally.
All right. Well, I have a feeling we are going to hear the unveiled new version around the time of the inauguration. I hear there are some good developments in that regard. So, Rick and Jenda Derringer, we look forward to your making a big splash at the inauguration of our next president.
Oh, man, that would be a dream come true.
Stand by. And thanks again for joining us at the Stone Cold Truth.
In the New York Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, Roger Stone has gathered documents and uses his first-hand knowledge to construct the ultimate book to prove that LBJ was not only involved in JFK's assassination, but that he was in fact the mastermind. Find out how and much more in The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Get yours today at lbjkilledjfk.com. New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone brings you Nixon's Secrets. In Nixon's Secrets, Stone reveals how the Kennedys wiretapped Nixon's hotel room the night before the Nixon-Kennedy debate and stole Nixon's medical records from his psychiatrist's office. Stone lays out how Kennedy's running mate Lyndon Johnson stole Texas from JFK through voter fraud, while Mayor Richard Daley stole Illinois, and how JFK actually lost the popular vote. Get Nixon's Secrets today at StoneColdTruth.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Injury Help Desk is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of the lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention heartburn drug users. If you or a loved one has taken Nexium, Prevacid, or Prilosec to treat heartburn, acid reflux, or indigestion, and suffered serious kidney damage, chronic kidney disease, or kidney failure, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Studies from the JAMA Internal Medicine indicate a significant increased risk of acute and chronic kidney disease from taking proton pump inhibitors. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with kidney failure or chronic kidney disease after taking Nexium, Prevacid, or Prilosec to treat heartburn, acid reflux, or indigestion, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk now. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-225-8944. That's 800-225-8944. Again, 800-225-8944. Call now.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to PortableSolarLLC.com to learn why Solarc is energy insurance for your family.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit GoBerkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey guy.
All right. Welcome back to the Stone Cold Truth. We get ushered in by the dulcet tones of Deep Purple. Probably one of the great organ solos of all time. If I were a disc jockey, we'd go back and play it. But we've got more important things to do. Joining us now, Travis Irvine, filmmaker, stand-up comedian, liberty activist, author, and man about town. When I want the millennium point of view, I go to Travis, and he usually can tell me what's on the minds of our younger voters. Travis, welcome back to the Stone Cold Truth.
Roger, good to be with you as always, and what an honor to follow Rick Derringer. As an Ohio boy myself who grew up playing Hang On Sloopy in high school band, such a treat to be on with him.
I played that myself because the bass line was so simple. So, Travis, when I spoke to you earlier, you were pretty steamed about Hillary Clinton's address to her donors. Lay it out for us.
Well, sure, Roger. I mean, as a registered Democrat myself, of course, I've got plenty of Democrat friends in the liberal bubbles of L.A. and New York City and the comedy community. I think it's absolutely infuriating that Hillary Clinton goes to these donors basically to plead her case as to why she wasted all their money. She essentially goes in there and says that Vladimir Putin had a personal vendetta against her. I mean, most of the Democrats I know know that Hillary Clinton couldn't get in touch with working people. That's the problem. I think the bigger problem here is that she's talking to these donors again at all. She couldn't connect with working people in Wisconsin, Michigan. Instead of spending more money to campaign in Wisconsin, Michigan, and working class states that have lost jobs, you know, they spent that money on fireworks and balloons at the Javits Center. I mean, it's just arrogance upon arrogance. And I'll add to that seeing Barack Obama come out of that press conference and make some of the same excuses, it's just, I don't know what the Democrats are going to do. They don't seem to want to learn their lesson. It's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, she never put forward a compelling case for her own election. She had no ideas. She ran a state-of-the-art 1980s campaign. never made proper use of social media, ironically, since it was really her husband who first harnessed it for political purposes. And even her people at the Kennedy School Conference at Harvard, in which representatives from the Clinton and Trump camps talked about the election, they're still unrepentant. They still don't realize they ran a lousy campaign. They blame their defeat on James Comey because, unfortunately for Comey, somebody tossed into his lap an enormous catch of emails that detail even more outrageous crimes by the Clintons, more outrageous abuse of others by the Clintons. And then when FBI Director Comey said, upon coaching by the president, one presumes on the Monday before the election that those emails contain nothing, Comey compounds a career of lies. You see, Comey was the prosecutor in the Sandy Berger affair, in which Berger, Bill Clinton's national security advisor, smuggled classified documents out of the National Archives in his pants. No one went to jail. Comey was the prosecutor when Bill Clinton traded a pardon for a giant a giant contribution to the Clinton Foundation for the international fugitive Mark Rich. Again, nobody went to jail. Comey could find no evil, even though Hillary clearly broke the law and should have been prosecuted in her initial unclassified, unsecure server scandal. And now he's running the cover-up on the records that will be the death knell for the Clintons and their public reputation. The so-called Huma Abedin, Anthony Weiner treasure trove. So what's your feeling also, Travis, about this whole move to ban fake news? I think that's you they're talking about. Or maybe it's me, or maybe it's Breitbart or Daily Caller. This sounds to me like Stalinist-type censorship.
Well, that's as a graduate of the Columbia Journalism School myself, I really have appreciated Glenn Greenwald's take on this. Is exactly what you're saying. Well, what is fake news? There were several examples during the primary where Hillary was running against Bernie, where her campaign leaked fake news and fake stories about Bernie and Bernie's campaign, and the media ran with them. I mean, where exactly do the lies end, and where do they begin? I mean, it used to be the only fake news I would see would be, a good review of one of my comedy shows. Now, you have no idea who's putting out the real news and who's putting out the fake news. The real interesting stuff is at the CIA, where they can't seem to even agree on what leaks they want to put out there. So it's a very bizarre time for journalism, and I'm going to go ahead and keep believing citizen journalists, folks like yourself. Glenn Greenwald obviously has a great reputation. There's so many ways to get information now, and it's absolutely frightening that Hillary Clinton and Obama in these last throes of their power are going to try to go after information and journalists. I mean, that's freedom of the press. That's the First Amendment.
Yeah, it's very sad that Julian Assange had to go out and do the job that the media in this country refused to do. Assange had to go out and dig out the facts and make them public, for which he is now reviled. I don't think the Clintons, they don't have enough thumbs to stick in every hole in the dike as this gets fought out. I mean, yes, we do have a real problem with fake news in this country. CNN, that's fake news. There are so many lies per hour and misrepresentations and lying through omission that's it's extraordinary.
Absolutely.
Frankly, it's getting so bad. It's getting so bad, Travis, that Fox is no better. Last week, Megyn Kelly played a bite of Alex Jones at InfoWars, saying that Hillary has torn up and killed children, and then they cut off the part where he said in all the wars that she has supported. So they make it sound like she's referring to something that is known as Pizzagate. That is journalistically dishonest. Megyn Kelly should be canned for that alone. How stupid do they think we are? But it's this kind of misrepresentation, taking my tweets and twisting what I meant, twisting the time frame to fit some weird narrative. Anyway, I know, Travis, that you just returned from a tumultuous week at the Cleveland Comedy Cave. And maybe you can tell people where you're going to be appearing coming up.
Well, absolutely. If anyone is in Ohio, if Rick Derringer still lives in Ohio, I'd love for him to come to one of my shows. But I'll be in Columbus the week after Christmas. We've got some great comedy shows going on where all the comedians who are from Columbus, Ohio, and have gone off to L.A. and New York City, they all come home. We've got a great show at Woodlands on December 26th and Shadowbox on December 27th. It's always a good time.
Well, I think it was Milton Berle who said drama is easy and comedy is hard. I agree with that. Travis, if you had to name the greatest stand-up comedian you ever saw live, who would it be?
Oh, my gosh. Well, it doesn't get much better for a libertarian millennial debaucherous person like me than Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope is my favorite comedian to see live. If you have a chance to see him, he tells it like it is, Roger. He's kind of like the Roger Stone of comedy.
Well, this shows how the generations are different because, of course, I'm a Henny Youngman guy myself. Although I did once see Uncle Milty do stand-up in a nightclub, and it was so filthy, so blue, I was rolling on the floor. Anyway, Travis Irvine, many thanks for bringing it back to the Stone Cold Truth. I urge our listeners to take in any performance by Travis Irvine because the fact the guy is, as Steve Martin once put it, so freaking funny. Thanks for joining us here. And Travis, next week, I guess we finally get to talk about Christmas, something you've wanted to talk about on the show now for a couple weeks.
Absolutely, Roger. Happy holidays.
Same to you. And to our listeners, thanks again for joining us today on the Stone Cold Truth. Coming up, Greg Lewis, guitar icon, and Scott Caruso, Italian food expert.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply. Or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. Earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
What looks good under your Christmas tree and tastes even better? Big Berkey water filters. Yes, the gift of clean water. A gift that provides a great foundation for achieving good health in the lives of your loved ones. A Big Berkey water filter gives them protection from bacteria, heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, pesticides and herbicides, VOCs and more. And best of all, a Big Berkey water filter is a gift that lasts for many years with no additional investment. And that saves time and money in filter replacements that other water filters require and are even powerful enough to purify treated, untreated, or even stagnant pond water. As always, all orders over $50 are shipped free, and GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Order online at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com, spelled Big, B-E-R-K-E-Y, waterfilters.com, or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Gift well this Christmas. Give a Big Berkey water filter.
This is Ben Gordon, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. There's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-290-8480. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-290-8480. That's 1-800-290-8480.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. Now there's finally a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, and if you're one of the first 100 callers, you can try Transcend risk-free for 10 days. So call now, 1-800-441-9833. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. To guarantee your 10-day in-home trial, you must be one of the first 100 callers to call minicpap.com now. 1-800-441-9833. Again, that's 1-800-441-9833.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Come on over, baby, whole lot of shake going on. Yes, I say come on over, baby, baby, you can't go wrong.
Welcome back. You are entering the Stone Zone here at Stone Cold Truth, proudly on the Genesis Communications Network, covering politics, culture, food, film, and anything else we think of that particular week. We are the real news right here, just to be absolutely clear. CNN, that's the fake news. We are the real news. And if you want to know what's really going on in Washington, really going on in the Trump administration, really going on in the ranks of the Democratic Party, really what's going on in America, tune in here to the Stone Cold Truth. Now, we are joined by a Republican legend, John Haggerty, longtime New York Republican activist and professional, is considered one of the country's foremost experts on election law, certainly the foremost expert on New York State election law, a man with extensive experience in recounts in various states, and a man who recently returned from Wisconsin. Now, I found the whole recount question interesting because when I posited prior to the election that these these computerized voting machines were easily hacked, I was vilified. When I said that voter fraud does exist in America, when I said that the polls could be inflated and manipulated to reflect the results of manipulated computerized voting machines results, why, the folks at Media Matters demanded that The Hill and C-SPAN no longer cover Roger Stone because his ideas were so outlandish. Then suddenly, Jill Stein, fronting for Hillary Clinton, taking money from Hillary's benefactors, launches a completely phony effort to recount the votes in Wisconsin based on two arguments and two arguments alone. One, the voting machines are susceptible to hacking, and two, the polls didn't match the outcome, therefore the outcome must be wrong. John Haggerty, welcome to the Stone Cold Truth.
It's great to join you, Roger.
So, John, tell us exactly what went down here in Wisconsin, and then give us a quick review on Michigan and Pennsylvania.
Well, Wisconsin, Jill Stein requested a recount, and under Wisconsin state law, she can do that, even though she was in fourth place and had absolutely no chance of winning at any point. So she paid I believe the fee was a $3.5 million fee, which under Wisconsin state law entitled her to a recount. So over the course of 12 days, the boards of elections in each county in Wisconsin conducted a recount of the ballots that had been cast for president. Some counties conducted a hand recount because it's up to the local elections officials, which they choose to do it manually or by machine, and some did it by machine. And when all was said and done, Donald Trump gained 131 votes net over Hillary Clinton, and Jill Stein had gained an additional 66 votes statewide, which comes out to $53,030 per vote for Jill Stein. So the whole thing was an absolute waste of time and fraud upon the taxpayers of Wisconsin. I can tell you this, that certainly the Board of Elections employees and officials were none too happy spending their holiday season at the boards of elections for almost 2 weeks straight, basically 12 to 14 hours a day, for something everybody knew that the outcome was going to be the same. So in Wisconsin, what it essentially did was it verified that the election system they use in Wisconsin is pretty accurate. It audited its system and proved that it's accurate, because in Wisconsin they use scannable ballots, which are paper ballots, like a standardized test, where you fill in the oval and then they're run through a scanner. So in Wisconsin, it was, in terms of showing the validity of that state's elections operations to be fair and complete. But of course, a complete waste of time.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Jill Stein, with the $3.5 million which came from Hillary and her benefactors, provided no evidence whatsoever that the count was wrong. She just wanted a recount because she wanted a recount. Is that correct?
That is correct. They hyped it up you talk about sore losers. There was a lot of hype in the beginning. In fact, in Michigan, we'll talk about Michigan for a second here. So Michigan, the campaigns were in both state and federal court at the same time. And the state court ruled, because what she did was she sued for a recount, saying that she was an aggrieved party, and they basically said that she cannot be aggrieved because, one, she could not win the election under any no matter how you look at it, she couldn't win, and number two, you can't bring before the court and say, well, this is possible, or this is, maybe this happened. There was absolutely no proof of fraud or manipulation or any irregularities, and that the court could order the recount to continue. So, a lot of this is, again, it's sore loser hype about the election system.
And what happened in Michigan?
Well, in Michigan, there were several counties that started a recount. I was in Detroit, which is Wayne County, and what we saw in Detroit was, again, the election night tallies were accurate, but then when we did go to some precincts, we would find some more ballots than there were people signed in the poll book, and under Michigan state law, that means the election night tally stands. So nothing in the end of the day changed in Michigan, because after 4 days of the recount, the court shut it down and said it wasn't necessary, which it wasn't. But I think what will come out of it is in some limited areas, the state is going to audit and review the elections procedures of local elections officials, because some of it was a mess. Not so much fraud, but just an absolute mess. Poor training of elections workers, and bad, after a long day of elections, they didn't count certain things correctly, but nothing even close to change the outcome of an election.
Were there any discrepancies in Hillary's favor discovered in Michigan?
There were some, but again, very minor. You're talking. You might have a vote here or there in a precinct where an election workers were tired and they counted wrong. But again, when you do this, overall, it's kind of a wash. You look in Wisconsin. Of course, Hillary gained votes in Wisconsin as well. But when you net it out against Trump gained more, so the net for Trump in Wisconsin was 131. So, in certain states, a scanner, these are states that use scannable ballots. So these ballots, a scanner may miss 1 in 10,000. And so, when you're talking 100,000 votes or 1 million votes, you're only talking 100, ballots that it missed. Again, it's not enough to alter the outcome of an election. There was an article, I forget in which magazine recently, that talked about all the major recounts in the United States since Bush-Gore. And in any case where the outcome was changed, I believe there were 3 of them, and they were statewide elections. The margin was less than 300 votes between the 2 candidates. So once you get over 1,000 votes or 2,000 votes, I mean, it's almost never going to affect the outcome of the election, any of these recounts.
And then, of course, the third one mentioned by Stein and the Democrats was Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was not in Pennsylvania, but what I know is so. These elections these procedures and elections are controlled by state law, and every state has a different procedure. My understanding in Pennsylvania was they were able to sample certain precincts. The way the law works is they're allowed to sample certain precincts in the beginning of a recount, and then if there's sufficient evidence of irregularities or fraud, then they can go back to the court and ask for a full recount. And my understanding is there was not any irregularities or enough indication of anything so no recount moved forward. I'll give you an example. In New York State, we have a statutory provision that an election must be between 2 candidates of 0.5% or less for a recount to occur. So it's statutory. No one gets to decide. If the math shows it's that close or closer, it's automatic. And if it's not, the election numbers stand on election night. And that's the problem is that again, like in Wisconsin, they need to change their law to allow some kook like Jill Stein, who, suckers her supporters for a lot of money in front of Hillary, to go and conduct this recount, which absolutely everybody knew from the get-go wasn't going to do anything. So Wisconsin really needs to change their law, and I think they will do it because of this.
All right, there you have it. John Haggerty, the country's foremost expert on recounts and election law. He'll be back with us again in the future, but giving you the precise countdown on the recounts. I heard Ed Rendell saw those precincts in Philadelphia where more people voted for Hillary than were registered, and he decided to drop the whole thing. Many thanks.
New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone brings you Nixon's Secrets. In Nixon's Secrets, Stone reveals how the Kennedys wiretapped Nixon's hotel room the night before the Nixon-Kennedy debate and stole Nixon's medical records from his psychiatrist's office. Stone lays out how Kennedy's running mate, Lyndon Johnson, stole Texas from JFK through voter fraud, while Mayor Richard Daley stole Illinois, and how JFK actually lost the popular vote. Get Nixon's Secrets today at StoneColdTruth.com. Roger Stone, New York Times best-selling author, brings you Nixon's Secrets. Nixon's Secrets shows how Hillary Clinton was fired from the 1974 Nixon Impeachment Committee staff for lying and violating Nixon's rights, and how Hillary tried unsuccessfully to block Nixon from the Clinton White House. No wonder Nixon, upon meeting Hillary for the first time, said, "She's cold, cold as ice." Find out more at StoneColdTruth.com.
The EPA says the air in our homes is up to 5 times more contaminated than outside air. The solution is not just to filter your air, but detox it. UVforlife.com now offers a doctor-recommended UVforlife.com sterilization unit to kill over 99% of viruses, bacteria, molds, and dangerous chemicals. Go to UVforlife.com. Add promo code GCN at checkout to save $100. That's UV4life.com. UVforlife.com. Don't just filter your air, detox it.
Has your body ever gone low blood sugar, feeling weak, shaky, knowing you better eat something fast? We all know high blood sugar can lead to many metabolic problems. At GCNteam.com, we have a healthy blood sugar pack, focusing on the structure and function of stable blood sugar. Find us at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Nothing feels worse than unstable blood sugar. Call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Yes, you're back at the Stone Cold Truth, broadcasting from the Stone Zone. Quite a week in American politics as President Trump continues to put together an administration with the backdrop of his critics manufacturing a totally false narrative about Russian hacking and control of the elections. And of all people, who steps forward but CIA Director Brennan? Not a word this gentleman says can be believed based on his public record. This is the same Brennan who predicted months before the election that there would be hacking. Mr. Brennan is an expert on Islamic affairs, speaks the language, spent substantial time in the Middle East, and many in intelligence believe that he himself has converted to Wahhabism, an extreme form of Islam. Again, I say many in the intelligence community, people I respect, have told me this. Nothing this fellow can be believed. And now he's disagreeing with the others. That's okay. President Trump can investigate the director once he becomes president. Mike Morrell is the other guy who's laughable. He attacks me as being an agent of Russia during the election. Actionable, my friend. See you in court on that one. But then secondarily doubles down and repeats this canard. Morrell is the guy who cooked the Benghazi CIA report for Hillary. He works for a consulting firm, a lobby shop, controlled and funded by Hillary's agents. He's an agent of Hillary. He's broken the law. Justice ought to take a look at him after this election. His role in Benghazi should be re-examined, in my view. But the guy's a shill. He uses the title of former acting CIA director to slur me, to smear me, but his words are lies. Hopefully my lawyers can find a case that is winnable, because I want to question Mr. Morrell myself on the stand. Meanwhile, there seems to be an enormous fight inside the Trump administration over who should be the face of this administration. We have seen Josh Earnest do this for Barack Obama. He assailed me last week claiming falsely that Donald Trump might have learned about the Russian hacking from Roger Stone, his longtime friend. Well, he might have, but he didn't because I didn't know anything about it. Again, a smear. But who will be the Ron Ziegler, the Herb Klein, the press secretary, the face of the administration? What Jody Powell did for Jimmy Carter. What Larry Speakes did for Ronald Reagan. Now, I read a piece in the Washington Examiner that said that longtime Republican National Committee spokesman Sean Spicer was favored to get this position. I remember Spicer. He is the guy who said if Donald Trump doesn't improve his poll numbers by September, the Republican National Committee would have to consider withdrawing their financial support. That is beyond belief. Dick Nixon, Barry Goldwater, Bill Miller, Ray Bliss, Mark Hanna, these men would be rolling in their graves because Republican National Chairmen serve at the pleasure of the presidential nominee, not the other way around. And then again, it was Sean Spicer who decided John Harwood was the right guy to moderate the RNC-sponsored debate, televised debate. Now, Harwood's a friend of mine, but I think he was terribly unfair and unprofessional in that debate, referring to Donald Trump as a cartoon character to his face. Well, that cartoon character just got elected president of the United States. So I just don't think kind of fat, sweaty, and argumentative is not the imagery that one wants in a press secretary. That's why I was heartened to read in Politico that Kimberly Guilfoyle from Fox News has said she's interested and would take this position, which has to be an extraordinary step down financially because my sources at Fox, which are quite good, tell me that she's being paid somewhere around $3 million a year, and her contract is up. I know for a fact that CNN and ABC and others have expressed an interest because I have friends in those networks as well, believe it or not. It's funny, CNN bans me, but 4 dozen of the reporters are constantly calling for background political news. Funny how this world works. It is amazing that Guilfoyle is available. She is a Latina. She is an accomplished attorney. She is a former prosecutor with an unbroken string of convictions. I read in the San Francisco paper that she gave all of her summations in those trials without a note. The very best grades in college and law school, the former First Lady of the city of San Francisco, well liked by Republicans and Democrats, and of course a superb presence on television. Who better to argue the case for Donald Trump and his administration than a woman? So I'm hoping that this is real. I'm hoping that President-elect Trump will see the efficacy and the good sense of putting Kimberly Guilfoyle into that slot. Now, I have, over the last couple of weeks, had to cut back on the telephone because I like to work the telephone like Lyndon Johnson, calling reporters, calling political contacts, calling cronies, calling sources, in order to write my columns at the Stone Cold Truth and to do my afternoon shows on Wednesdays at InfoWars, where I sit in for the last hour for Alex Jones. If you haven't seen that, check in at 3 p.m. Eastern at InfoWars every Wednesday. But I've had to hunker down to finish the manuscript of The Making of the President 2016, How Donald Trump Orchestrated an American Revolution. I have purposely am writing this book in the style of the late Theodore H. White, Teddy White, a legend when it comes to political reporters, a man who really changed completely how we report on our presidential campaigns. His last book was in 1980. His last piece was in 1984. He passed away shortly thereafter. His book, The Making of the President 1960, is considered one of the most important and seminal political works in history. He wrote a subsequent book in 1964, 1968, 1972, when he finished the series. So my book is the inside story of how Donald Trump overcame seemingly insurmountable odds to win the greatest single political upset in American history. Far bigger than the Truman upset of Dewey in the 1948 election, which heretofore would have to be considered the greatest upset. America went to bed believing that Tom Dewey would be president the next morning. I think Harry Truman himself may have believed that. They woke up to learn that California had gone to Truman, despite the fact that Earl Warren, the popular governor of California, was on the Dewey ticket, and Truman was president. No, the Trump victory was even bigger and more astounding than that because of the mainstream media harangue telling us that Hillary had an insurmountable lead in the polls and the election was over. So the expectation level for Trump was so very low, and the expectation level for Hillary was so very high. Boom! The greatest upset in American history. You can go to Amazon.com. You can go to BarnesandNoble.com. Shortly you'll be able to go to Infowars.com or TheStoneColdTruth.com and pre-order this classic. Now, a lot of people are going to like this book. A lot of people aren't. I think Donald Trump will love this book. Ted Cruz, not so much. John Podesta, grab your ankles. The Making of the President 2016. Order it today. And thanks for tuning in to the Stone Cold Truth.
I'm David Hall, founder of Diamond Gusset Jeans, here to wish you all a Merry Christmas. For over 20 years, we have built a loyal customer base with 100% American-made jeans featuring enhanced fit, comfort, durability, and style. Today, all of our inventory is discounted by 20%, so don't delay. Enjoy a wonderful shopping experience at Gusset.com. Thanks for keeping our American dream alive, the original Diamond Gusset jean.
Roger Stone, New York Times best-selling author, brings you Nixon's Secrets. Nixon's Secrets shows how Hillary Clinton was fired from the 1974 Nixon impeachment committee staff for lying and violating Nixon's rights, and how Hillary tried unsuccessfully to block Nixon from the Clinton White House. No wonder Nixon, upon meeting Hillary for the first time, said, "She's cold. Cold as ice." Find out more at stonecoldtruth.com. In the New York Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, Roger Stone has gathered documents and uses his first-hand knowledge to construct the ultimate book to prove that LBJ was not only involved in JFK's assassination, but he was in fact the mastermind. Find out how, and much more, in The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Get yours today at lbjkilledjfk.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Don't know what contaminants are lurking in your water? Time to get a ProPure. Take advantage of ProPure's holiday sale. Save 25% on all ProPure water filter products. Sales good through December 31st. There's a ProPure water filter for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
You're here at the Stone Cold Truth, right here on the Genesis Communications Network. People all over Lubbock, Texas, listening to us today on Buddy Holly's home station. And joining us now, a Lubbock native, a living example of the fact that you can be a conservative, a Republican, pro-liberty, and also be a hardcore rocker. I remember when Bonnie Raitt constantly attacked Lee Atwater because Atwater was a rocker. And sorry, Bonnie, he played a much better guitar than you, much better, although you had a better voice. But she didn't seem to think that you could have a lively interest in the musical arts, shall we say, and also be a Republican. Music is not ideological, although some would like it to be. And Greg Lewis is a living example of the fact that you can be a rocker and know the ins and outs of rock and roll and still be a conservative Republican activist. So thanks for joining us here at the Stone Cold Truth, Greg Lewis.
Thank you, Roger. I'm very honored that you say kind things about me, because you and I both, when we skip away from politics, we go into music, and I've challenged you and you have challenged me in our knowledge, and I bow to the power, sir. You're very knowledgeable in music. People won't realize that. They think that you're strictly political. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. The rock and roll community, they're not just a bunch of brain-dead slashers and everything. I've played everything from, of course, Metallica to classics, the Beatles, Django Reinhardt. Very, very interested, as you like the Rolling Stones, I know. I'm a Beatles fan. Played in a band in Houston. I put into action back in, I hate to say it, 1990, a band called the Fab Five. And for the last 5 years, they have been the top cover band in Houston, and they're voting there by the fans. So, absolutely, with Rick Derringer and bands like Axe, and a lot of hardcore bands who are good conservative people, and good hardcore rockers that sometimes, like the Dixie Chicks, we don't try to put everything into our music. We do stand by the music, and then personally and privately have our convictions. I personally am a hardcore Trump fan. I'm looking forward to be up there January 20th to welcome him in, and it would be a great honor, I think, for all Americans to do that. I know. You were talking about Rick Derringer earlier. I heard him interviewed. Wonderful guy. I've been a fan of his and hang on to you for years, as you have. And one of the things that you asked me about one time before was about his instruments. This guy plays some of the best instruments in the world, Roger. Started off with B.C. Riches. He used to have that famous Mockingbird guitar that he played, and it was a signature sound. And he's an interesting guy. I had him play an amplifier that my family company was called Mosrite. It was a cousin, Simmy Mosley was my cousin, and developed that amplifier. And it was created in the style of Alexander Dumble. And Rick has an absolutely wonderful, concerning ear, and listened to that amplifier and absolutely said, you know, that's just the quintessential sound. And I know he's moved away from the Dumbles now with his BBT, but Rick Derringer, I heard him, and I can't get over him today, that I am a good fan, and I think that he's got the great sound, and I'm excited about his new song coming out. Did you play your 2120 today, Roger?
Yeah, we get to play a little bit of it. Greg, I would have to tell you that, just so you, since you had to disclose your roots, I played Hang On Sloopy with a band called the Centaurs that I was a member of in high school. I played a Gretsch precision bass guitar, which I later sold in order to pay off some student loans. So I know from which you speak. There was not a band at that time who wasn't playing that. It became a standard. I always fancied that two-tone green, kind of mint green, dark green, hollow body Gretsch guitar that Brian Jones played. I always wanted that guitar.
Brian Jones was the soul of the Rolling Stones. A lot of people can dispute that, whether Mick Jagger is or whatever. Brian Jones, you say that Gretsch guitar he had, but I loved his 12-string work. Tears Go By. Oh man, I still cannot play that unless you play it on a 12-string. It's just beautiful.
I first became to appreciate the 12 strings. Strangely enough, talk about roots. I became at around age 14, 15, a giant fan of Leadbelly.
Oh, yeah.
Leadbelly was a legendary black singer who had actually been a slave, had been convicted of murder in a fight over a woman, was pardoned by O.K. Allen, the governor of Louisiana, because he played a song for the governor and he fancied it. He recorded on a steel string, 12-string, at some of the greatest standards like Irene Goodnight, Rock Island Line, and so on. Those would later be covered by British musicians in a genre called skiffle, which is worth listening to in its own. Lonnie Donegan, Van Morrison, who goes on to Brown Eyed Girl. But I am a great fan of the 12-string. I know what you talk about. Going back to the Stones, in all honesty, Bill Wyman, always underappreciated as a bass player. Always underappreciated.
Absolutely. Oh, you're absolutely right. And what I find absolutely amazing, and as you know, I played the bass in my later time and everything, and I absolutely appreciate the bass guitar. Bill Wyman, under my understanding, I read his book, said that he made his first bass guitar. I don't know if I have seen that, but I would love to see what do you make a homemade bass guitar out of? That's just amazing to me. And then, but you're right, his style was great. Matter of fact, your song, the 2120 South Michigan Avenue,
that's started
off. You love that. They started off playing that and wrote that song because Bill Wyman was doing that riff on the bass. Everybody joined in, and they created that song to honor Chess Records there in Chicago. That's the address of Chess Records Studio.
It is. It's amazing to me that bass players like Noel Redding, who played with Jimi Hendrix, these guys are underappreciated because they're not out front. But every true musician knows it's the bass player who drives the song. Okay, Greg Lewis, I wish we had more time. We're going to have you back next week for part 2 so we can talk rock and roll in our fight for liberty. But thanks for joining me here today. Right direct from Lubbock, Texas, on the Stone Cold Truth.
In the New York Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, Roger Stone has gathered documents and uses his first-hand knowledge to construct the ultimate book to prove that LBJ was not only involved in JFK's assassination, but that he was in fact the mastermind. Find out how, and much more, in The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Get yours today at lbjkilledjfk.com. New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone brings you Nixon's Secrets. In Nixon's Secrets, Stone reveals how the Kennedys wiretapped Nixon's hotel room the night before the Nixon-Kennedy debate and stole Nixon's medical records from his psychiatrist's office. Stone lays out how Kennedy's running mate Lyndon Johnson stole Texas from JFK through voter fraud, while Mayor Richard Daley stole Illinois, and how JFK actually lost the popular vote. Get Nixon's Secrets today at StoneColdTruth.com.
Honey, what is that in your CPAP mask?
Oh, that's just my mold collection.
Oh, gross. And what is that?
What, that bacteria colony right there? Yeah, cool, huh?
Okay, CPAP users, admit it. You're not always as careful about cleaning your system as you should be. Unfortunately, a dirty mask and hose can make you sick. Respiratory infections, allergy attacks, and more. But now there's an easy way to protect yourself. SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of CPAP germs in minutes. For a limited time, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-944-1065. SoClean is hands-free. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP comes out clean and fresh in minutes. Don't let germs wreak havoc on your health. Call in the next 10 minutes for your risk-free trial. 1-800-944-1065. That's 1-800-944-1065.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details. Need some extra cash for Christmas presents this year? Do you have bad credit or maxed out credit cards? If you could use extra cash for Christmas, turn your radio up. 45cash.com specializes in connecting you with a lender ready to give you the cash you need for Christmas. Now you can get a personal loan for up to $5,000 with any type of credit discreetly from your computer or smartphone and with no paperwork to send in. That's right. No paperwork whatsoever. Your cash can hit your bank account as soon as tomorrow, regardless of your credit history. Visit 45cash.com to request up to $5,000 for Christmas spending in no time. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income, and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 45cash.com from your smartphone or computer to get the cash you need. Visit 45cash.com. Type www.45cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 45cash.com. 45cash.com.
Don't become dependent on the medical system. Get and stay healthy naturally with Extendivite. Metals in the liver cause peroxides to get dumped into the bloodstream. Peroxides do more damage than free radicals to the arteries, and the LDL has no protection from peroxides, causing the LDL to get stuck in the arteries, creating a potential blockage. Extendivite slowly chelates the metals away from the liver so it can dispose of what was meant to be a harmless process, peroxide. Extendivite's 7 herbs has a job to strengthen the organs and circulatory highway. Can you afford a heart attack? Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite. Mustang Sally. Guess you better slow your Mustang down.
Broadcasting now from the Stone Zone. In truth, we're at an undisclosed location. That's probably safest until the Electoral College votes are cast on Monday. Giant effort by the political establishment and the two-party duopoly, the very people who have run this country into the ground. On the one hand, they would like to steal this election. On the other hand, they would like to silence the stone-cold truth. Infowars.com. Breitbart News, The Daily Caller, Town Hall, and so many other alternative news sites. We are the real news. They are the fake news, and it's been proven again and again. We're going to get off politics here, and we're going to move on to my favorite topic, particularly when I'm hungry, and that is the question of pizza. Now, pizza is a subjective thing. Pizza's kind of like sex. Even when it's bad, still pretty good. And your standards when it comes to pizza are very different depending on the time of day. In other words, when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you've had a few too many and the urge to eat hits you, or perhaps you have the munchies, as some of my friends explained to me, there's nothing better than a slice of pizza, and at that hour, you don't really care too much about the quality, because all pizza at that hour is still pretty good. But there are meccas of pizza and different schools and styles. There is, of course, the famous New York pizza, very thin, slightly oily, superb when it's found in its original form. Stone's rules. Never go into any pizzeria with the name John's or Ray's. And if it's Ray's of any kind, particularly Ray's Original or their rival, no, I'm Ray's Original, which I think is across the street. Don't set foot in those places. There is John's of Bleecker Street, a one-off, cash only, coal-fired oven. Outstanding. One of the greatest pies in New York. Bleecker and 6th would have to lead my list. I hope now joining us, Scott Caruso, who is a restaurateur, an experienced sommelier, one of the most respected men in the wine business and community, but also a man who knows his way around a pizza pie. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
You're welcome. What's going on, Roger?
I'm glad to hear that you and your wife and your son are doing well, and I look forward to seeing you over the holidays because it's been too long. But whenever Scott and I get together, we talk about our favorite subject, and that would be pizza. So, Scott, if you could have lunch with me today, any place in the country to sample the pie, what would be your pick?
Margarita pizza, una pizza napolitana.
Really? So tell us about it.
Oh, God. Thin crust pizza, San Marzano tomatoes, fresh basil, fresh mozzarella, but done perfectly. Just cooked. You know what? It's all about the crust when it comes to the pizza for me. And the simplest of ingredients. And for some reason, he hits the nail on the head every time. That place, he was in New Jersey, he was in Manhattan, and now he's in San Francisco. And for some reason, that's the one place that I always get the perfect pizza.
Now, if you were in the Big Apple for the weekend, where would you head?
After my last pizza weekend, Don Antonio's is my new favorite spot in Midtown.
Most interesting. Tell us about that.
The last time I was there, the owner, Roberto from Keste downtown, which I really like, teamed up with his predecessor from Naples, Italy, and they opened this restaurant, and they make a Keste pie with prosciutto di Parma, a little bit of arugula, a little bit of truffle oil, and when I tell you, the bread, everything about that pie was just on point.
Now,
of course, I did revisit it again over the weekend because I had hit 3 or 4 pizza places while I was there. I did do Motorino's, I did do Keste, and I did have slices of pizza at Joe's downtown. But there was something special about that pizza in particular.
Well, as you know, I did not have a great experience at Keste. I found that the cheese was pooling. It was so over-cheesed. And the problem, of course, really was that they're almost directly across the street from John's and Bleecker Street. Now, John's gets their sausage on that same block from the Falcone brothers.
Yes.
And it is the best pork sausage you will find in the New York region. Their pie is interesting in that they apply the cheese, half-cook the pie, remove it from the oven, add the San Marzano-based tomato sauce, and in my case, the sausage, a little oregano, and they finish the pie. And it just put Keste to shame on this particular day. I followed you to Mortarino. I gave it 5 stars. You're absolutely right. They keep churning out the pies till the dough runs out, folks, and the line goes around the block. Around the block. Now, you're out in the New Jersey suburbs, Scott, and you're pining for a slice. Where do you head?
Ooh. You know what? I grew up in a small town in Bridgewater, New Jersey, and for some reason we had a place called Dominic's Pizza, bunch of old guys from Italy, and they made brick oven pizza, but I guess it was the ingredients. It was always my spot to go to. It's not a famous spot, but it's been around for, decades, and they just always turned out really good pizza.
I had such a spot. It was in Norwalk, Connecticut. It was called Phil Baker's. Phil Baker had been a prize fighter of some note, and he owned this Italian place, and the pie was like none other I've ever been able to find. They used the Scamozzi cheese, nicely kind of charred on the edges, just unique in every way. My whole life has been a quest to try to duplicate this pizza because the state of Connecticut and the federal government decided to put a highway right through where Phil Baker's legendary Italian restaurant was. And he moved to another location, but it was never the same. The pie was never the same because of the seasoned ovens, one presumes, and I've never been able to duplicate it. Now, I know you're in South Florida now, and let's say you're in the Fort Lauderdale area, and your wife wants pizza, and you agree, reluctantly, of course. Where would you go?
So far, because of you, I've taken you up on Nick's Pizza in Coral Springs. They make a clam pizza. It's very good for this area. Unfortunately, my favorite spot seems to be Lucali down in Miami. Lucali is from Queens in New York, and they somehow, it's never duplicated, but it's very good.
Yeah, it is kind of snooty, though. I agree with you. It's very, you feel like you're in Manhattan, and they ask you if you have a reservation at a pizza joint. You know, not a good thing. I must say, Nick's, of course, is the New Haven style of pizza that I grew up in. It's a unique Connecticut style of pizza. The mecca of that is Frank Pepe's or Sally's.
Or Sally's,
next to each other on Worcester Street, a bitter rivalry. I tend to prefer Sally's, although I've had many fine pies at Frank Pepe's. They just had to go in disguise, because if they see you walk into Sally's, you're done. But Worcester Street, New Haven, this is the mecca of great pie. Probably 6 or 7 pizza places on the street, all worthy of trying. And the closest thing I have found is Nick's New Haven style pizza. There's one in Boca. There's one now out on University in Fort Lauderdale. Highly recommended. Highly. All right, so we pried open the issue of pizza with Scott Caruso. He's going to come back and join us next week. He's going to talk to us about wine and what the smart wine buys would be, because no one knows more about pizza and wine than my good friend Scott Caruso. God bless you, and thanks for joining us, Scott, here at the Stone Cold Truth.
Thank you, and I look forward
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IBC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IBC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IBC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
This is Ben Gordon, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. There's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-290-8480. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-290-8480. That's 1-800-290-8480.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to PortableSolarLLC.com to learn why Solarc is energy insurance for your family.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon you'll need a plan and place to survive. Forget bunkers. You're not a live underground gopher. You need survivalist camps, the ultimate fully functional, off-the-grid mobile survival bug-out house that's well-equipped and custom-built to outlast any other RV or trailer. Bold statement? You bet. See them now at survivalistcamps.com. That's survivalistcamps.com. Trust your family's survival to survivalistcamps.com.
Welcome back to the Stone Cold Truth. Particularly bloody week in politics this week. We now see the CIA director, Brennan, weighs in and says, no, the Russians definitely hacked the election. We need to take a look at Mr. Brennan, in all honesty. This is the same Brennan who sanitized Obama's passport records when he was running for president. This is the same Brennan who served as Obama's campaign advisor, who has said repeatedly, jihad is a worthy goal. There is no connection between Islamic radicalism and terrorism. That old lie, that worn-out lie, claiming that terrorist groups are driven by an ideology that is not rooted in Islam. This guy turns a blind eye to the necessary war on terror. He has popped up now to insert himself in this argument, despite the fact that he has claimed that Hezbollah is renouncing terrorism and violence, the fact that he has supported civil courts rather than military tribunals for the most hardened terrorist criminals, that he has admitted to supporting the Communist Party candidate for president in 1976. The Communist Party at that time was dedicated to gaining support for the Soviet foreign policy with the intent of defeating the United States in the Cold War. Moscow gave the U.S. Communist Party hundreds of thousands of dollars to carry out this disinformation, this propaganda effort, of which Mr. Brennan was a proud supporter. This guy's record makes it unfathomable that he's even in the CIA, yet he kidney punches the president-elect. The only one worse here would be the former acting director, Mike Morell. As I have written, Morell is the man who covered up the truth about Benghazi for Hillary Clinton. The fact that the Islamic video that allegedly was shown in Turkey was the cause of the attack on our mission in Benghazi from a mob, a rabble, was a lie that WikiLeaks proved was invented by Sidney Blumenthal at the suggestion of his young anti-Semitic son, writer Max Blumenthal, both sons of the legendary anti-Semitic, anti-Israel writer Max Blumenthal Sr. See, Sidney thinks he's Ted Sorensen, but he's really Al Capone. He's an enabler for Hillary Clinton. And Mr. Morell helped rewrite the CIA talking points to conceal that lie. A lie that WikiLeaks again proved to us, as did the Senate committee, bipartisan committee looking into Benghazi, that Hillary Clinton was told by the people at the highest levels of our intelligence agencies that that was false, yet she repeated that lie in a face-to-face conversation with the parents of 4 dead Americans. Because, you see, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama did not want to admit that U.S. interests had been attacked by a group affiliated with Al-Qaeda weeks before a presidential election. Yet Hillary's own email to her daughter says we were hit by a group associated with Al-Qaeda. She tells the Egyptian ambassador the same thing on her unsecure, illegal server. The one the Russians, the Chinese, the Saudis, the Israelis, and the North Koreans have most likely tapped and copied, as well as Turkish intelligence. So the idea that Brennan or Morell should be proselytizing on the honesty and integrity of our last election is a joke. These are running dog lackeys for Hillary Clinton, George Soros, and the established order. I'm very disappointed in Mitch McConnell, who comes out and says he has the highest confidence in U.S. intelligence. Mitch, you've been around a long time. You know better than that. It appears we had a rogue element of the CIA in on this Russian hacking stuff because others, including James Clapper, disagree. That's why Brennan had to jump out with this PR stunt. Mr. Brennan, you have no credibility. You work for them, not us. Your resume tells it all. This isn't fake news. This is the real news. So it is incredible that we are even fighting about the outcome of this most recent election. Yet 5 weeks after Donald Trump has been elected, after a phony recount, as John Haggerty told us earlier on the program, the country's foremost expert on election law and recounts, certainly the most prominent and respected one within the Republican Party, has told us, the $3.5 million fee charged by the state of Wisconsin to conduct 12 days of a recount, which proved nothing whatsoever, changed. Where did that money come from? Jill Stein? She never raised $3.5 million a day in her life, and her campaign was essentially broke by Election Day. No, the hard left does not want to give up. And that is why the move towards fake news. Now, there is legislation moving towards the president's desk to create what is in essence a government censor board. These people will decide what's real news and what's fake news. Well, if you're differing with the government, if you are criticizing the mainstream media, they call you a conspiracy theorist. Well, wait a minute. John Podesta says Roger Stone may have told Donald Trump that the Russians were hacking and giving the stuff to WikiLeaks. Now, there's a conspiracy theory for you, folks. Or the president's spokesman saying Roger Stone may have told his longtime friend Donald Trump. They're the people who believe in conspiracy theories. They've spun them their whole life like nobody died in Libya, Hillary told us. Really? Did she miss the Benghazi scandal in some way? Because based on her testimony, she couldn't remember much. Maybe she forgot the whole thing. Extraordinary. I'm concerned about this effort to shut down InfoWars, Breitbart, Town Hall, Daily Caller, Stone Cold Truth, and dozens of others of worthy, liberty, and truth-based citizen journalists. I'm sorry. We now have the moral imperative over the New York Times. The New York Times is owned by the number one donor to the Clinton Foundation, Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim, Jeb Bush's secret partner in the TracFone company, where they have reaped millions from the Obama and Clinton administrations in a phone contract. Now the fix is in when the big establishment boys are playing, but the series of stories on the front page of the New York Times by Scott Shane and others provide none of the documentation of this whole Russian stolen election canard. Thanks for joining us here on the Stone Cold Truth. Join us next week for some hardcore political truths, and we'll fill you in on the insides on Rex Tillerson's path to the Secretary of State's office and the roadblock that the far left and the political establishment intends to try to throw in the block. Because we're ready to fight for Donald Trump's nominee. The globalists are vomiting over the great appointment of Rex Tillerson, a man who will answer to Donald Trump and the American people only. Thanks for coming to the Stone Cold Truth.
New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone brings you Nixon's Secrets. In Nixon's Secrets, Stone reveals how the Kennedys wiretapped Nixon's hotel room the night before the Nixon-Kennedy debate and stole Nixon's medical records from his psychiatrist's office. Stone lays out how Kennedy's running mate, Lyndon Johnson, stole Texas from JFK through voter fraud, while Mayor Richard Daley stole Illinois, and how JFK actually lost the popular vote. Get Nixon's Secrets today at StoneColdTruth.com. Roger Stone, New York Times best-selling author, brings you Nixon's Secrets. Nixon's Secrets shows how Hillary Clinton was fired from the 1974 Nixon impeachment committee staff for lying and violating Nixon's rights, and how Hillary tried unsuccessfully to block Nixon from the Clinton White House. No wonder Nixon, upon meeting Hillary for the first time, said, "She's cold, cold as ice." Find out more at StoneColdTruth.com.
How confident are you in your food storage? If it was all you had to rely on, would it sustain your family? Hard times, good times, or any time, New Manna Storable Food is the proven superior choice. Learn for yourself what happened when one man ate only New Manna Storable Food for an entire month. Online at PowerPrepper.com. That's PowerPrepper.com. Experience the New Manna difference.
American-made food stores I love to eat. Yum!
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.